Ada 4 perkara. In D, subsidiary means for the determination of rules of law. That's 4. All right, the first one is judicial decision. Second one is teaching of the mostly highly qualified. Then number 3, qualified publicists of various nations. Number 4, subsidiary means for the determination of rules of law. D, the subsection D, 38 clause 1D, is also known as secondary source of international law. So A, B, C is primary source of international law, but D, all right, is a secondary source of international law. If you're ever to be asked on the questions of hierarchy of source of international law. So is there a hierarchy? Between A, B, C, and D, there is. Between A, B, and C, there is no hierarchy. Either one that is available or all three will become the primary source of international law. When it comes to D, it is a secondary. There is no hierarchy in the secondary. Any one of these 4, all right, in D will be considered as source of international law. Right. Quickly, because we have about only 15 minutes to finish. All right. Okay. So over here, right, subject to the provision of Article 59. Article 59 of ICJ talks about, all right, what the court can do. All right. Okay. So the court, yeah. All right. ICJ court can look into previous judicial decision. Right. So court, pari material. The word is pari material. ICJ look for itself previous judicial decision. They can refer to as long as it is pari material with the dispute that they are facing. All right. So judicial decision, although in ICJ there is no stare decisis, all right, judicial precedent, all right, but they can look into the decision as pari material. All right. Okay. So decision from ICJ is binding only to that particular party in that particular case. But the principle discussed can be adhered to. All right. So it can also become a law to solve dispute. All right. Okay. And the next one, teaching of the most highly qualified. Who are they? These are the founding fathers. All right. So buku dia semuanya is being published already. All right. Tapi I was talking about the teaching of the most highly qualified. Who is the highly qualified in the ancient time is recognized by the book. All right. But who are the people who are highly recognized today? It's also the teaching, their books, what they wrote in the book. That book, the idea, the solution will become law if it can be produced in a court. All right. Professor Hart, for example, Professor Kelson, these are the modern people. All right. Okay. Professor Brownlee, and you read the book by Shaw, for example. If you refer to Shaw, understanding of certain principles, and refer to him solving or clarifying in his own words as evidence or as a law in court, you can. All right. Remember the guy that I said, Professor Arvid Pardo from University of Malta. He is the professor at that time in the 18th centuries, all right? Okay, making a declaration on the words marine resources. He said marine resources. What is marine resources? Right? Marine resources are everything that is inside the water, inside the sediment, inside the rock, underwater, except shipwrecks, or all the wrecks that is come into the sea, because originally it was not from water. It was from the sky or from everywhere else. So anything that is from the water, inside the sediment, inside the rock, all right, they are considered as marine resources. If that is his identification, all right. And then he said, if you are going to harvest it, harness it, take it, suck it, all right, benefit from it, then it must, the way you take it, you must follow these principles of common heritage of mankind. Meaning, you must leave some for the future. Now you can enjoy it, but you must leave some for the future. Common heritage of mankind concept. So you see, he is then a very famous professor on law in law of the sea. He is teaching of the most highly qualified. He becomes a consultant in United Nations. And then he had his book released. All right. So when the book is released, publicist. This publicist ni, the word yang tadi, number 3. All right. Publicist. As long as in your country you have well-renowned a writer, international law. All right. And then it will, some of your methods are referred to in the court. All right. Okay. Then you can become a source for dispute. You can become a source to solve dispute. Qualified publicist of various nations. It doesn't have to be in England. It doesn't have to be in Netherlands or Europe alone. It can be from other country too. All right. Okay. But it has to be published. It has to be published. Right. Publicist of the various nations. Now, speaking of books, even if it's not books, just an article. Like, for example, this Alex write a lot about, he is a guy from Netherlands, also working in United Nations, and then work in the University of Groningen, all right, in Netherlands, all right, and he writes a good articles on Admiralty, for example, a good, these professors and this project, Avalon, for example, they write a good articles that even United Nations discussed it. So their articles, their books, once published and can be referred to in court as a source of evidence. All right. The next one is subsidiary means for the determination of rules of law. Okay, all right. Subsidiary means for the determination of rules of law. This subsidiary means refer to United Nations General Assembly. All right, United Nations General Assembly. All right, United Nations Organization General Assembly. The assembly is sometimes called in short summit, SUMMIT. This summit, all right, they invited all representatives from all members of United Nations Organization, right? Either you believe there are about 2000 or 2005 new members that come in, all right? The number is not important, right? The fixed number that the book will always refer to is 199 states members. Today it grows, all right? United Nations have not updated the membership number, so I hold on 199 states for a while. All right, so this summit every 4 years, they will come to United Nations in Geneva and they will have a summit. That is the main, every 4 years, right? Okay, before they come, in the first year, they must create a proposal, right? In the second year, in the first year, they created any one of the state, if you have an issue to talk about, all right, you must send a proposal in the first year. In the first year, you send the proposal. That proposal will be sent throughout the whole 199 states. In the second year, when this country number 2 accepted it, all right, procedure number 2 accepted, that country must like it or object it. All right, if they accept it, every country majority 2/3 accepted, it becomes a proposal to be read in the General Assembly. Ni tahun ketiga, the veto power will look into it, or they can look into it anytime, but sometimes they look into it on the third year, they can object. So your proposal is killed. All right. So any proposal that make it to the final assembly on the 4th will get to run for election and voting. Right. Okay, so for example, you are going to nominate a person from the government to become a judge. It goes through this situation, but we're not talking about that one. Here we were talking about subsidiary means for the law, to make it law. And this is where my example of earlier, 1951 Declaration of Friendly Nation, to ousted, all right, the mode of government, the mode of communists as government. All right. So in 1951, communists is killed. All right. Later on, Soviet Union fall, collapsed because it start from election of communists. All right. Okay. And China changed from communist to become socialist, but the party is still called Party Communist China. All right. Satu saja parti dia. Alright, dia tak ada undi-undi kat situ. Alright, okay. Right, now coming back into subsidiary means, right, in order for it to become subsidiary means for the determination of rules of law, it has to go through that proposal. Alright, itu in general. When you learn 583 later, you will learn the specific rules on each one. So in the 4 years, country doesn't keep quiet. That's why in United Nations, people are, in Putrajaya, the international department are always busy. All right. So if, for example, Malaysia wanted to have a proposal on something that the world will follow, all right, they will come up with that proposal. All right. But remember, the next step is that even though at the stage of proposal, right, it can be vetoed. So in order for the General Assembly to create subsidiary means, it's very rare that they have a subsidiary means. But when it comes to the resolution that has already become law, you can check this one. Go to United Nations, un.org. All right, UN, Googled it, un.org. All right, okay, then they will give you this blue picture. And then you look over there, there were a lot of details, understand them, read the one in English, of course. All right, if you can read other than English, wonderful. Okay, so go for a resolution. You can see how many resolutions. There are about 2,000 resolutions on Palestine and Israel alone. Right, okay, that you can also use as to show that United Nations is strong when it comes to trying to bring justice or enforce. All right, whether it is effective or not, that's a different question. But they have about 2,000, all right, resolution on the dispute between Palestine and Israel. They have a lot of resolution and clarification. All are considered as subsidiary means for the determination of rules of law. All right, okay. So you see, this one, subsidiary means, you can check on the United Nations, all right, okay, judicial decision, all right, the one that is pari materia or the one that the court only look for the same principles in handling almost similar, but each case is not binding against another, all right, tapi the next one is teaching of the highly qualified and teaching of the qualified publicists. Itu ada dua explanation over there. And then the last one is subsidiary means. So over in D, that's quite a number. All right. So if Mahathir for one day, right, long ago, that he went to United Nations and he makes a declaration, right? Okay. All right. That declaration, if it's not objective and it made to the last day, the 4th day that he get to speak in front of the speaker and all right, that is wonderful, because in order for you to move there, if it is only a speech, you are allowed. But if you are making a proposal, it has to go all the 4 stages. All right. Okay. Remember the facts. Long ago, beginning of the year, Cambodia, An Yang Suu Kyi and the military commander make 2 announcements in front of the people. All right. Well, An Yang Suu Kyi was saying that we are not killing the Myanmar. all right, okay. But then the general, the army military, who is, I think, also in power of the government, okay, Aung San Suu Kyi is the what government, all right, okay, the favorite leader, tapi he is actually, the military is actually the one that going to enforce. So he walked up behind her and he grabbed the speaker, he grabs the microphone, and he tells the world that yes, there are dealing with the Myanmar because Myanmar are terrorists. Right. All right. Attention like that, that then trigger investigation. But before this, all right, terrorists have already been declared in the subsidiary rules as a threat. This one is considered as a threat to the world. So when you open up a statement like that, you allow a Security Council to have an investigation, to look into the matter. Before that, it was only declared that it was a local problem, that the Myanmar are trying to seek this and that, all right, the Rohingya. But now Rohingya become an issue of a terrorist. So international matters will, through the General Assembly, through the Security Council, will look into the matter. Now it's no more a Myanmar problems or Rohingya single, but it is a terrorist. You see? All right. So next time, remember, if you are the leader, a lot of things that you want to keep it close, you must make it as domestic matter. I'm not telling you to do evil. I'm saying that sometimes it is best that we handle and control the matter ourselves. All right. Okay. Not opening it to the international community to interfere. The situation that you, if you cannot condone it as a domestic matter, like Lahad Datuk, for example, all right, a subsidiary means will come into and look into the resolution. If there is a territory, then Security Council will look into the matter. That is a resolution. All right. So in the Lahad Datuk, we declare that it is an independent domestic matter. In the case of Sudan, in the case of Bashir, Sudan, all right, in the beginning it was domestic matter, but reporter wrote it and with evidence that it is actually an international matter. So then they had war. All right, okay. So macam itulah that you have to understand. All right, the power of all this source, it can become a source for you to defend yourself. It also can become a source of law that the relationship with another state demand upon you. Right? Okay. Now, ex echo, ex bono, just one more minute. When we look into this, meaning that it cannot be all right, prejudice to anyone. If that law, although they accept, they agrees, both parties to it, right? And if it's not good, all right, it's not going to be the source of law. It's only when it is beneficial. There is some kind of all right, benefit that one refers to it and to another. So ex echo, ex bono, it bring benefit to the two parties. All right, ex echo, ex bono also means that the two parties must be responsible to the law that they pursue, to the source of law that they choose to pursue on solving the dispute at international matter. All right, with that, I have completed for you to look into all the four, all right, understanding of the source of international law. That is on the face value. That is refers to the questions, what are the source of law? Very general. Can you describe the hierarchy of the courts in ICJ? Can you describe the hierarchy of the source of law in Article 38, Clause 1 and 2? All right, that refers to when you do the training, when you do your time SLT, those were the types of questions that involves on today's lecture. Although it takes 2 hours, but that kind. But, all right, excluded when it asks you what is law of internet law of treaty. That is next. All right. In our next class, we are going to look into law of treaty and some cases on customary. Kenapa? Nak differentiate. Some are treaty, some are customary, and customary, all right, okay, for C and D, we have looked into it, right? For A and B, we are going to look it into thoroughly, right, when we are looking into, right, next week, law of treaty. With that one, you will need to have Vienna Convention. All right. If you don't, I'll send you materials. This time, I've decided to send materials in the future and also to your PowerPoint ahead before the class. Yeah. So that you don't have a blunder while waiting for me to lecture and grasp through the document. All right. Okay. Boleh for today?
Madam,
Yes, I.
I just want to check my wording, takut my istilah salah.
All right.
So as for the subsidiary means for the determinations of rules of law, any country who is interested to create law, is it true? The terms, any country who is interested to create law.
No, it's not any country. It means the
Okay.
T, subsidiary determination. It's not
Yes.
macam ni. It's not any country to create law. Any country that wanted to make a proposition. Can you see the difference? Proposition. You only propose to the United Nations General Assembly. You can't make law, right? Because you must make proposal. Proposal can be killed by the veto power. Proposal can be killed because you don't get enough voting. Jadi, any country who wants to propose, alright, propose. Perkataan tu kena ada ya, Mas No, boleh?
Okay, madam. Thank you.
Tu. Dia tak boleh directly make law, tak boleh. Kalau we write it the way you said just now, that means if I'm from Malaysia, I want to make law, I just go to the subsidiary means, go to the General Assembly. Tak ada direct macam tu. Jadi just to make it perfect for you, so you write it correct. Yeah, dear? Alright. Okay, any other questions? For today, we will end the class dulu. Thank you very much, dear. Okay, let me just end the record.